fork off. A bourbon steward. It takes me a minute to get some words sometimes. Oh, that's puke. Ugh. Ripping his clothes and gnashing his teeth. Corn whiskey. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. All right, we are here, and David is watching. Hey, David, how are you? And Nate is with us. Great. I'm glad you're here. David, I don't remember seeing your name before, so I'm glad you're here. We're going to go through the gamut. This is what we do here. We taste new bottles. They may not be new as far as the market, but they're new to me. And we run them neat, run them on water, run them on ice, tell you a little bit about the backstory of what we're drinking, all those types of things. And tonight, I have the results so far of what we're going to do as far as an open. We've been doing this for 4 years, and I felt like it was time to change things up a little bit, and we got some good votes on the music videos that I created that could potentially open the show, but I also got some feedback from people who like it the way that it was and don't want me to change anything, and other people that just say no intro whatsoever because it takes you too long to start the show. It shouldn't take 40 hours to begin the show. It's 30 seconds, 45 seconds. But okay. 40 hours, he said. 40 hours. I've told you 1 billion times not to exaggerate. Right. This is the Elijah Craig 18. Now, I didn't realize this, but this is a single barrel. I didn't know I had a single barrel, but it's a single barrel. The 18s are single barrels. And what it says about it, it says that they are bottled solely from the contents of one expertly chosen barrel. This is a Heaven Hill distillery product. It's only 90 proof. Yep, 90 proof. Aged 18 years in charred oak. Mash bill on it's the same as this other mash bill that we tried last week, Private Barrel. This is a much higher proof. But you think we're going down in proof this time? Wait till you see what's coming up next week. We're going to drop it even more. Anyhow, 18 years mash bill, 78% corn, 12% malted barley. Kim's watching. Hey, Kim. Glad you're here. Glad you're with us. 78% corn, 12% malted barley, 10% rye. Again, it's mid-level rye. Now, the MSRP on this is $150. In Ohio, it sells for $169.99. So, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes we sell things at MSRP in the state of Ohio, and sometimes we do not. We talked a little bit about Elijah Craig last week, how Elijah Craig was a preacher and how he owned slaves, and one of his slaves was the master distiller. Same thing with a couple of other folks, which we'll get to in a little bit. This isn't an unusual story when it comes to the South, when it comes to those early years of bourbon making, but we'll get into that. In 1789, Elijah Craig became one of the first distillers to actually age their whiskey in charred oak. Now, we don't know if that was an accident or if it was something that was on purpose because of an experiment that he wanted to try, but he started that, charring the barrels, and because of that, he became the father of bourbon. And John is watching. Hi, John. Came in a little late, so you didn't have to watch all my intros. He was the one that's complaining about it taking 40 years to start a Bourbcast. All right, so I don't really have a whole lot of extra information on this. I thought we'd talk a little bit about Heaven Hill Distillery. They have Henry McKenna, Bernheim, Old Fitzgerald, Pikesville, which, by the way, is really, really good. Parker's Heritage, Evan Williams, Mellow Corn. Those are brands under their umbrella. They have Five Brothers, too. That's exclusive in Kentucky. You can't get that anywhere else. Heaven Hill, largest independent family-owned bourbon distillery in the world. Really ought to say, though, in the country, because bourbon is a uniquely American product. So to call it the biggest bourbon distillery in the world is a bit of a stretch. Heaven Hill founded shortly after Prohibition in 1935. They bought the Bernheim Distillery in 1999. Heaven Hill was the last name of the guy who owned the land the first distillery was on. It was Heaven Hill, all one word, but there was a clerical error that made it Heaven Hill, and it would have cost $10 to change it, so they didn't want to spend the money, which would have been a decent amount of money back then, and they just left it Heaven Hill, and that's where it's been ever since. Kevin's watching. Hey, Kevin. I'm glad you're with us. In 1996, November 7, 1996, lightning struck the Rick House and a massive fire resulted. Whiskey was flowing across the highway on fire. Would have been like a lava flow. Would have been so cool looking. They lost a distillery and 7 rick houses, 92,000 barrels of whiskey due to the tune of $30 million. Other distillers came together to help them distill whiskey, and when they were finally able to get to their 5th floor yeast refrigerator, where they kept the yeast they'd been using since their very first batch in 1935, they found it safe and sound in the refrigerators, still cold despite the fire. In 1999, they found it safe and sound. In 1999, they purchased a struggling Bernheim distillery, which had triple the capacity of the distillery that they'd lost. They continued to expand, and the rest is history, unless you want to get into the labor dispute from May of 2021, but I don't want to talk about that. It went from May to October of 2021. That labor dispute was icky. That was ugly. That's all I'm going to say about it. All right, Elijah Craig 18 year. So the photo that I took, let me drop that over here so you can see it if you hadn't seen it already. I thought, when you're looking at something that's 18 years old, you want to give it a little bit of class, a little history, a little something that looks, important. So that's what we did. I gave it a little bit of a look. It was just, this is beautiful bourbon. Part of this is the photography and the production of it. So here we go. The thing that hit me the first is cinnamon, but I'm getting cinnamon apple too. The oak is definitely present on this bad boy. Cinnamon and oak and apples. And apples that's not a note I get very often, but for some reason today that's what I'm getting. I did write down the notes this time from one of the reviewers. I haven't read them. I just copied and pasted them, so I have them, and we can go to them to see how close I am. Okay. So they're saying oak and caramel, vanilla cream, creme brulee, brown sugar. Subtle apple cinnamon crumble. I got that one right. Bill's watching. Hey, Bill. I'm glad you're with us. I'm sorry we started a little bit late, but we're here. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. I'm not catching the brown sugar. I'm not getting creme brulee. It does not nose that sweet to me. I will tell you if it gets to be that sweet, and I don't get it that sweet on this. But that cinnamon's popping hard, and the oak. All right. Here we go. That mouthfeel is beautiful. That bloom is beautiful. That is gorgeous. Just the mouthfeel alone. That's beautiful. The longer it sits in the barrel, the more it can mellow out. But the more it also builds a viscosity on the mouth. It gives it that silky or oily or buttery, and what I'm getting off of this one, it's not flavor, it's the way it feels, and that is a buttery mouthfeel. It's like butter. Oh. The bloom on this. Now, for those that are new, the bloom is a coffee term. When you pour hot water on coffee grounds, you'll see those coffee grounds expand. They plump when you cook them, so to speak. And I kind of stole it to put it on bourbon. I don't like the word burn, because it sounds pejorative to me. It's not pretty when you say, it burns, but a bloom, right? That's elegant. And so I stole it and I put it to this, and that bloom is that feeling on the tongue that as it sits there, it gets hotter, it moves, it can move around your palate. As you do that whiskey chew and you get it to go around and inhabit all of the nooks and crannies of your palate, that's the bloom. That's that that escalation of the heat. So that's why I call it that. The bloom on this is slow but steady, and it moves. It starts in the center and moves its way out, which I just love that. Gets its way all over the tongue and all over the palate, and that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful palate. I didn't even try to get any flavors out of that because I was falling in love with the way it felt in my mouth. I know, that sounds elegant, doesn't it? Yeah, no. I'm working on it. All right, so we got more. We got out of area. Hi, out of area. You know, if you say that a certain way, it sounds like maybe a French name. Out of area. Hi, out of area. Out of area traveler. That would be a cool name, wouldn't it? Out of area. It could be a name of a pharmaceutical, or it could be a Marvel superhero name. Out of area. Okay, let me taste it now. Oh, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. Now's where I'm getting some of that oak. Nice, very light black cherry note. Definitely getting some caramels there. Caramel, if you have a degree. On the palate is where I'm sensing some of those things that other reviewer had on the nose. I'm getting a little brown sugar in there. I did peek at the palate on this one. It says oak immediately fights forward. Totally agree. Riding behind it are vanilla powder along with cinnamon spiced apples and a dab of brown sugar. I'm getting that. White peppercorn spice notes. I've never had a white peppercorn. I've had a black peppercorn. I've never had a white peppercorn. I've had white pepper. It's very prevalent in Asian food. But I don't think I've ever had a white pepper. Corn. I'm not necessarily agreeing with their notes. I'm getting more of the nose notes on my palate. I'm getting a little bit of that brown sugar. Creme brulee, meh, not so much, but the caramels, that oak for sure. I'm teetering on whether or not I'm going to consider this a complex pour. I love a good complex pour that brings a lot of different flavors together. Generally, you're going to find that complexity on pours that are younger than something like 18 years, right? Because all the flavors are still there and they're competing with each other. When you have something this old, that's going to be mellowed, it's going to be mixed in, it's going to be emulsified within itself, and pulling out specific notes may be a little bit harder than if it were a little bit younger. When I put this on water in a minute, we may be surprised at what else I pick out of it. I'm anticipating some great things on the water. I will say this. As nearly perfect as this pour is, I gotta wonder what it would be like if they added another 5% ABV. If it went up to 100 proof, what would happen to it? It's gorgeous the way it is. And because it's only 90 proof, it's very accessible. So for people that don't like a hot pour, there you go. You don't need to add anything to this and it's perfect. And those caramels are really gorgeous. My goodness. I saw one reviewer, he said it kind of tasted woodsy and tobacco-y, and I don't get that at all. This is definitely a really, and I'm going to say it's overly sweet. It's just a very beautiful pour. On the front, there's a little bit of some citrus, and on in the back you get the black cherry, but on the front there's a little citrus. little zest, and I got just a hint of Corinthian leather. Now on the finish, there's definitely a very nice spice that's popping in. A spice that didn't show up the rest of the time. A little licorice on it. That's actually, I don't like licorice at all, but that's a note on bourbon that I really like. When I can find some licorice on it, I really rather like it. It's not the same as like having licorice. No, but the note in the bourbon is attractive to me. I've never found a licorice note that I didn't like when it comes to bourbon. It gives it just that little tiny sliver of maybe just a little bitterness that offsets some of that sweet that's sitting there and some of that oak. It's not tanniny so much. I suppose it could be, but it's sweet. If it's tannin, it's sweet. It's a sweet tannin, but it's bitter at the same time. It's licorice. And it's just so slight, just so very little bit. I think I'm gonna lean towards calling this a complex pour, because every time I sip it, I'm getting something different, and that tells me complexity is there, despite the fact that it is so ultra aged. By the way, there are so few bourbons that are aged this long now. Of course, you got the Pappy line; those are aged long. You've got the Knob Creek, now they've gone up to an 18-year. Jack Daniel's is continuing to get up there. They had the 10-year, then they had the 12-year, now they got a 14-year out. So those aged products are continuing to come out as they're available. But Elijah Craig has had the 18-year now for some time. This happens to be the 2020 bottle. I got this in 2020. It was bottled in 2020. Which means it was put in the barrel in 2002. Isn't that unreal? 2 years after we worried about Y2K, 1 year after the attacks in Shanksville and DC and New York City, and that's when they put this in the barrel. 2002, just unreal to me, just unreal. And here it is, 2025, and I'm finally getting to it. It's been sitting in my basement for 5 years and I haven't touched it. For those of you that are curious, if you don't know this, bourbon is not like wine. Wine will continue to change in the bottle. Bourbon will not. Once it is bottled and it's not going to change anymore until you open it. So it's bottled under pressure, and corked, and that's the way it stays, and it doesn't age anymore, it doesn't mature anymore, it doesn't peak. It doesn't do those things. It stays just as it is. As long as I keep this out of the sunshine in a cool, dry place, this bourbon will stay exactly as it is until it's empty, even if it's 50 years from now. Now, I will tell you, it will not be 50 years before I empty this bottle. You only live once, and I've got another bottle of it. People are talking. I'm missing stuff, and I'm sorry. Out of area says hello. Lester Pearson's hello. How are you? Aaron is watching. Jeremy's watching. Thank you guys for. This is great. I appreciate y'all being here. This is the Elijah Craig 18. It's a 90 proof. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. And now it's time to put some water on it. I caught just a little lemon on that one. Maybe that's that citrus. And I don't catch lemon very much. And it may be a misnomer to call it lemon. It's a brightness, a citrus brightness that to me is just a little bit different than orange. Orange can be bright on the palate too, but just lemon is almost cleaner. It's a cleaner type of sense as far as citrus goes. If you're into the citrus thing, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're going to not go crazy on this. I'm going to only add 2 drops. I know, for those of you that are new, you're going to laugh. I mean, I used to put a whole milliliter in there, and I found that you can open it up with just a couple of drops. It doesn't take much. And I'm amazed by it. I'm amazed. And what's even more amazing is you're adding water to it, and sometimes that bloom, that punch, that burn, if you want to call it that, can actually come back a little bit further than it was there on, neat, which is just amazing. All right, so we do have another version of the music video that we're going to show here in just a minute. It's a different song, same video, but different song. And I'm just getting people's opinions. I had it all. If you're not if you're not paying attention to the Facebook all the time, I do have 3 versions of the intro or the music video or whatever you want to call it that are there that you can watch and vote on as far as if you want any of them as an intro. But we're gonna wrap the show today with the second video. Once we're all done and we're ready to wrap up, we're gonna play that second video, which I like how it turned out. I really do. It's kind of sexy and whatever. But is it good for an intro? I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to change anything. We got votes that we're not going to change anything, so we'll see. We got time. All right, so this is the Elijah Craig with 2 drops of water on it. Wow. That bloom came back. And it's there on my tongue. It's like, whoo, whoo, whoo. It opened it up. Two drops of water. It's incredible. Just incredible. Just the amount of flavor I got out of that was amazing. And they were different flavors, too. And I think I was so distracted by the changes that I wasn't able to necessarily pick up on one particular thing. Something hit me really hard when I first... a flavor, and I don't know what it was. I want to call it a fruit flavor. It hit me really hard when I took that sip. Goodness, and I was completely distracted and I lost it. So there's been some hype about this bottle. Just recently, people are talking about this bottle, like it made its way back out again or something. Buy it. You will not go wrong with this bottle. This is fantastic. This is going to be probably in my top 5 pours. And it's only February. I can't think of much that's going to top this sucker. This bad boy is nice. All right. Out of area is talking. You are making me want to open my bottle of 18 right now. What are you waiting for? Do it. Pop that sucker open. I mean, what do you, unless you're holding it onto it for a special occasion, fine. But do you have something else that you're holding on for a special occasion? Because how many special occasions do you think you're going to have in your lifetime? Go get it. Pop that sucker open. You don't have to drink it all in one night, right? Have some, and then when something cool happens, you have a great day at work, or your significant other makes you feel like you're not a turd, go pop that bad boy open and have a little sip of it. Just do it. What are you waiting for? I mean, that was part of the impetus behind me opening this, is what am I waiting for? I've got bottles that I hold on to. Why? Open them. My problem is I open them and then I empty them. This one, I'm not going to do that. And I've got some other bottles back here that I've opened and I haven't emptied, like the Mayor Pingree. That's one that that's a Michigan product. I've got the bourbon and the rye. I liked them very much, and you'd have to go to another state to get them, and I don't want to do that very often. But I like them enough that I haven't touched them again. They're sitting back there. They've been back there for years, and I haven't touched them, and I probably need to again. But that's back there. I got a bottle of Stag right there. You can see it. That's a 2019 Stag, I think, and it's still almost half full. I treat them like the special occasion that they are, but I'm going to open them. I've got some other stuff I'm going to open this year that I would have liked to have set on, but I'm going to open them. All right, let me get you some notes on this. Go get it out of area. Go get it. So much. So many different flavors coming around. They evolve as you're tasting it. The caramel, the cinnamon, the oak. There's a little bit of a smokiness. I'm getting some campfire on that finish this time, which I love. It's not like peat. It's not like scotch. I know there are people that don't like smoke and they don't like scotch, and that's fine. This, it was fleeting. It came and it went. It was gone. but there's a little bit of smoke on there, and that could be set in a charred oak barrel for 18 years. It's a single barrel. It wasn't a blend. They didn't move it somewhere else. It's set in one barrel for 18 freaking years. So a little bit of that char came through, and it was beautiful. Good night. Little vanilla on that finish. It's really the first time I caught any vanilla on this, and it's lovely. There's that campfire, that smoke. This is all finish. What do they say about finish? About finish, they say... I had it right the first time. Rye spice, I caught that. Rye spice pushes its way to the front to kick off the finish. Entering behind the spice note or subtle vanilla cream. I got that. And aged oak, and I got that. Flashes of cinnamon, yeah. Cake, no. Touch of leather, I got that before, but I'm not getting that on the finish. As the flavors fade, rye spice and dry oak remain intertwined and linger on a wave of gentle heat. I feel like I'm in a perfume commercial. Yeah. This is a delicious pour. This is a wonderful, wonderful pour. It's probably perfect at 90 proof. Me being a proof hound, I would love to see it knocked up a little bit. It's not going to happen. It's not going to go up to 95, 96, 100. It's not going to do it. It's beautiful the way that it is. I tend to like things a little bit hotter these days, but putting it on water added some of that heat to it. All right, now. I had to think about this before starting the Bourbcast. I got out the ice. I got out the gorgeous ice sphere. Gorgeous ice sphere. I got it out. There it is. Not doing it. I can't put this on ice. There are some pours that you don't put on ice. Okay, let me rephrase that. There are some pours that I don't put on ice. There are those of you who like it on ice and think that enhances things or it makes it an easier drink for you, or you like it cold, or whatever. Okay, fine. I ain't gonna argue with you, but I'm not gonna put it on ice. I got it out. I was willing. Can't do it. I can't do it. Certain pours, I cannot put on ice. I don't want to cool it down. I don't want to mute the flavors. I don't want to mess with it. It's perfect the way that it is, and putting it on ice is going to lower the perception of the proof, even on an ice sphere like this that's clear and will melt slowly because it has less surface area to melt. Even that, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. So that was the Elijah Craig 18. I am completely impressed with this. It is a fantastic bottle. It's beautiful. I bought these online before Ohio put the kibosh on buying things online. So I found these on the internet, and I probably paid too much for them. But if you find the 18, whether it's online or locally or in your travels, pick it up. This is a beautiful, beautiful pour. It's perfect in all the right places. I'm not getting too much sweet. I'm not getting too much bitter. This is lovely. All right, so what I want to do now is pivot, and before we get out of here and play that last music video, I do want to let you know what's coming up next week. Now, we talked about Elijah Craig last week and this week, talking about how it has a slave past. And one of the things, and they don't shy away from it, but one distillery that did shy away from all that is Jack Daniel's, because Jack Daniel's, we talked about this a little bit last week, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but Jack Daniel's learned how to make whiskey from a guy by the name of Nearest Green. And Nearest Green was a slave of a minister who became that minister's master distiller. And upon being freed, had his own acreage and his own thing, and continued being master distiller despite being free. So Nearest Green went down in history as, who the heck is that? Everything got lost. Jack Daniel's became a big hit, and Nearest Green was lost to history until just recently, in the last maybe decade or so, the story of Nearest Green started to come back out again. Jack Daniel's started to fess up as a corporation that it wasn't Jack Daniels himself that invented this bourbon. It was Nearest Green, because Nearest Green was the slave of a minister in Tennessee. The Lincoln County process that Jack Daniels and the rest of Tennessee whiskey is so well known for might have come from Nearest Green, who is now known by his bottles as Uncle Nearest. There's an 1894 and there's an 1888, which I finished that bottle. I finished it last night, as a matter of fact. Beautiful bottle. And the longer you let that sit, the better it gets. But I had mentioned that Nearest Green has a new bottle out, and I had not seen it before until just last week when I went to the store and I saw this bottle of Nearest Green. And I tell you, considering this guy's contribution to whiskey, what he was able to accomplish in the worst of circumstances, I mean, to have this bottle on the shelf is important. It's important. To have his name on the label. It's not Uncle Nearest. It's not Aunt Jemima. You know, it's not some kind of catchy little phrase. Although Uncle Nearest is fine and I like it. It's a great bourbon. But his name is on this. And I'm looking forward to trying this. You know, we're wrapping up, by the way, Black History Month. And for us to be hitting this on Black History Month, I think is poignant. And I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't like something that I set out to do. And when we taste it, it's not going to be Black History Month anymore. But we're talking about it, and that's important. But if you look at some of the great people in Black history, Thomas Sowell, the economist, and Martin Luther King, of course, and just you go back through the pantheon of great people who've contributed to this country, and some of them you don't know because they were in the armed services, you know, and they were cannon fodder in some cases, and they weren't treated well in the armed services, but they represented well. So to come back next week and talk about Nearest Green, it's an 84 proof Tennessee whiskey. I'm hearing good things, so I'm a little bit excited about it, even though it's way below my normal proof, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna enjoy this, I think, and I'm gonna enjoy giving some tribute to Mr. Nearest Green. And we got another viewer. Nathan's watching. Hey Nathan, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for watching. We're just about done, and you're just in time because we have a music video that we're gonna share. Last week, and I'm not going to run this one again, although I really, really like it. We ran a video that showed what might be our new intro for 2025. But it's all the music is generated by AI. I put the lyrics in, and then the AI generated. I told it what kind of mood I wanted it to be, what kind of tempo I wanted it to be, that I wanted it to be jazz because I love jazz. So those are the parameters that I put in. And it spit out the one that I played last week, and I really loved that one. I do, but I kind of like this one too. So I'm going to run this one past you and see what you think here. Okay. I just broke the cork off.
The nose is first. Explore the aroma. Open the secrets it's telling you. Then that first sip, let it sit on your tongue. Let it transport you to another time and place.
Okay, I like that better than I thought I would.
Beautiful bourbon.
Oh, that's puke.
It's beautiful bourbon.
So refreshing.
Beautiful bourbon.
Gorgeous. Still haven't found my first Blanton's. All right. All right, and there it is. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I do deeply appreciate it. You could be doing anything else, and you're here with me. And it's just a lot of fun to have you here with me. So we're going to wrap things up. Again, next week we'll come back with Uncle Nearest. I've got a bunch of pours there, and some of them are those exact same pours, the ones that I said I wasn't going to open, that I'm going to open. Because how long are we going to be here? You only live once, right? And you could take that two different ways. You only live once, so let's get her done. Or you only live once, so let's just be careful. when it comes to bourbon, you only live once. So let's go for it. All right, so wrapping up, we're going to close it out with the first. I just decided to do this. I just decided right now. So we're going to close it out. You're going to watch the music video from last week, and then that'll be the end of the Bourbcast. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week. I just broke the cork off.
The nose is first. Explore the aroma. Open the secrets. It's telling you.
Ooh, that's nice.
Then that first sip. Let it sit on your tongue. And you know it's just so beautiful.
Okay, I like that better than I thought I would.
Beautiful bourbon.
Oh, that's puke. Oh, so refreshing.
It's beautiful bourbon.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Still haven't found my first plant.
Beautiful bourbon.
Wow. All right.